Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is the sixth video of the playlist for basic of React.js. In this video, we will going to learn about Redux React.js. So, like the previous video, what the first thing we are going to do is install the package. Open up your terminal, and in here I will write the command called yarn add, and I will copy it from here. It is going to be at redux.js at redux.js slash toolkit, and then we are also going to install the React Redux package. This space is going to represent the different packages, so we are going to install two packages in the same time. I will enter and just wait for it. Now for the installation is done, I can go to the documentation. Then here I already have the documentation. It is in React Redux.js.org, and then you will go to the quick start page in here where we are. And here, as you can see, the first thing we are going to make is create a Redux store, because in this store we will configure all of the slices we have. And the next thing is going to be to provide the Redux store to the React. We will use this provider tag and put the store for the attribute, so that we can use our store in all pages of our website. The next thing is going to be create a Redux state slice, and for the slice is going to be where we are going to put the state and the reducer function. The next thing is going to be add slice reducer to the store. So we are going to connect our slice or our reducer to the store file. And finally, we are going to use the Redux state and action in the React component. Without any further, let's code it. In here, let's recreate a new file inside of this source folder, and then inside of it we will make a new folder called app, and then we'll have a file called, wait a second, let me see the documentation once again. Scroll up, and in here we will name it store.js. I will give it styles, I will give it name equal to store.js. And for the state is going to be import configure store from Redux.js toolkit, export default. We'll just copy it. And for the first one, we are just going to make same like the documentation, and after you understand it, we will make a new custom one. For the store, it's going to be something like this, and we will provide the Redux store to React. Go to the index.js, Control B, and here I'm going to change this react.strict mode to provider, and I will import it from the React Redux, and then import. Next we will import the store, import store from app.store, from app/store, and I will pass that store in here. Store. Let's go. Refresh it. It should be nothing because we didn't give the function in the React in the React component. Next, we are going to create the slice. For the counter, is going to be inside of a features, counter, and counter slice. I will make a new folder here inside of this src, and I'm going to make features. Then I will make a new folder called counter and counter slice.js. Pass the slice in here, Control B, Alt Shift F. Now I think we are going to connect this slice to the store. Yep. So we will add this counter reducer. Inside of this reducer, there's in the store.js. In store.js, pass it here. Now let's make, and then the last one is going to be connecting or use the Redux state and action inside of the React component. For the React component, I will just make a new component in here. And also I use the project from the previous video. That is the part 3. So I will make a new component in here. It's going to be Redux page.js. I mean .jsx, JSX, and I will paste the code in here. Alt Shift F, and in here I'm going to change this counter to Redux page. Redux page counter slice, and for the counter slice I will just keep it for now. Now let's check it out in the website. Go to React app, refresh, and we are going to make a new route in a app.jsx. And here I'm going to make a new route called, but I think I will just make it above, I mean below of this card details, and it's going to be Redux page. For this one I will make it as a capital or uppercase. Import Redux page, import it first, put it below the card details, and let's see. For the button you can edit or not, and here we get some error. Redux page was not found in component/Redux page. Possible export is Redux page. Redux page. Yep, this is what I say I forgot in what video, but as I said, if you want to make a component, as possible as you can, make it with the original or with the fixed name. If it's not, it's going to make a trouble like this. Maybe I will just make a new page called, or maybe I will just make it the same and as in the documentation, and that's going to be counter.js. Counter.js. Pass it here, Control B, and we will change the import inside of this app.js, inside of this app.jsx, and change it to counter. I will Control D, this two first, change the C to the uppercase, and for this one is also going to be an uppercase. Let's go to the page again and refresh it. We're still getting some error. Can resolve. Module not found. Components/counter.jsx. Let me see. Oh yeah, we forgot to change the extension to JSX. Now let's see. We got the same error. So wait a second. So the error is this one. The first one is we don't have a style, so we don't have to import it. And also I have to export this counter function, export default, and wait, what is it? Export default and counter dot save it. And then we have to move this counter.jsx into the counter folder because it is accessing the counter slice. Because it is accessing the counter slice, it is actually in the same directory, so we cannot move it anywhere. Or you want to add something like dot dot and then dot dot slash, but I want to just make it simple, so we just have to move this counter.jsx in the same directory that is in the counter slice. And we also have to change the import in the app.jsx. And if you see the pop-up that just coming up, it is the VS Code is asking if you want to update the import or not. If you click yes, so it will automatically change the import in here. Now let's see how it looks, and it should work fine for now. Let's access to the, wait a second, what did I set the root? It is going to be the counter. So /counter is going to be something like this. We have the increment 1 2 3 4 5, and then to 11, and decrement. Now, but to make it a little bit more styled, we are going to use the Bootstrap style that we have. So go to the counter.jsx, and in this button we are going to give it a class. The class is going to be class name equal to btn primary, and we are also going to give this first div some class, and that class is going to be container. Now let's see in the website, it is looking pretty much better, but we also have to add some row and col. And this container with the uppercase, it should be container with a lowercase c. Inside of it we'll have a row. Inside of that row we'll have a col md6. We will have two of them, or maybe we will have col md5, and between them we will have the col md2. So we are going to put this button, the increment button, inside of the first col md5, and for the decrement button, it's going to be inside of the last col md5, and for the span, it's going to be inside of this col md2. I will alt shift F to beautify it. Now let's see how it looks. It is looking much better, but I think we need some spacing. So in this container, I will give it m equal to, but I will just give it for the y axis. So for the margin top and bottom, I'm going to give it 5. And if we click decrement, it will decrement, and if we click increment, it will increment. But I think I will just swap the position. The decrement is going to be in here, and for the increment, it's going to be in here. I'll save F, and it is looking much better. And I will explain each of these Redux component for you. So the first one is the store. For the store.js is the file there's handling and saving all of the reducer that we have, and send it to the index.js in here, so we can use all of the reducer data to all of our page. And if you are giving the provider not inside of this index.js, for example in app.jsx, it will just give for one or whatever you set inside of this provider tag. The next one is going to be the slice. This slice is the file that is saving all of the state or the value that you want to transfer, and the function to mutate the value. For example, this first one is increment and then decrement. And this increment is going to be increment the value, and this decrement is going to be decrement the value. After we make the reducer, we have to export it, or else it will give us some error. For example, in here I will delete the decrement. Now let's see how it looks. And as you can see here, we got export decrement and imported as decrement was not found in counter slice. there's because they are not found the decrement function in here. So there's why we have to export it first. So after we are done making the Redux structure same as the documentation, now it is time for us to making the custom one. Then here I will just change some of the value and the UI of the page. But for the function, it is going to be just same because that is the point of the Redux. It is not going to be changed. I will go to here, close this up, and in here I'm going to go to the Bootstrap. I'm going to go to the Bootstrap, and in here you are going to search for the card and copy the first one. I will copy the first one here, go again to my website. So the plan is we are going to make some page. There's contain a few card, but we can increment and decrement it as we click the button. So we will map over the card. We will map the card over the data that we get from the reducer. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a new root in here because we are going to use a new component. So the new component is going to be card list, and for this one it's going to be capital. I will duplicate the import and change it to card list.jsx. Now let's make a new one in the component folder. This one is going to be card list.jsx. Inside of it, I will write C, and I will make a new React fragment. Inside of it, I will put a container. Inside of that container, I will have a row, and inside of that row, I will have a call md3, and we will have 4 of them. I forgot to add the dot in here, so that the mth thing I'm going to make a component with the tag of call md3. But if I put the dot, the mth will think I'm going to make a new div tag with a class of call md. So in mth, if you don't give what tag you want to do, is it will automatically make a new div tag. And it's of this, we are going to pass the card. And don't forget to close this image because it is the self-closing tag, and in React we are closing it with a slash in the end of the tag. And we are also going to change the style because in React we are not writing it like this, we are writing it like this: style equal to double curly brace, and then the property equal to the value, and the value is going to be 100%. And for the class, I'm going to change all of the class to the class name, and let's we see in the website, go to the card list, enter, and as you can see here, we have a 4 card that we are going to map over the data. But first, I'm going to give it some style. So in the container, I will give it my equal to 5. And also below of this row, we are going to have a new row, dot row, and that row is going to have mb equal to 4 or 3. Inside of it, we'll have the two. We will have 2 button or 3. The first one is increment, decrement, and reset. So in here, I'm going to make a new button dot btn dot primary, or maybe I will set it as warning btn dash warning. We'll have 3 of them, and the first one is going to be decrement, the center one is going to be reset, and the last one, or in And the last one is going to be increment. Increment. Now let's see how it looks, but I think we have to add, yep, like I expected. We have to give it some call so that it can give some margin to it. But we can also make it something like this. So we are going to make a new call empty. That one is 6. I forgot to add the dot again. 6, and I will put all of this inside of here. Alt Shift F, and for the row I will give some new class equal to justify content center. And for all of this button, I will give it mx equal to 2. Now let's see, and as you can see here, we get the same margin for each button. And I will give it mt equal to 2, some margin bottom equal to 2, and we got some more better result. Now for the UI is done, we can now working on the state. So for the state, I can just delete all of this counter and the store, but I think I will just make a new one and then delete the old one, because we will still need this old file for copy and pasted and for also remembering the code. So we are going to make a new folder inside of this src, and that folder is going to be the slice folder, and inside of that we'll have a new file called cart slice.js. And for the content, I will just copy it from the features and then counter. I will copy it from the counter slice here and paste it here. Change the name to cart slice, and also change the name to cart. For this one, we are not going to use value. We are going to use a 2 variable or 2 state in here. The first one is going to be cart count. For the default is going to be 4, and the next one is going to be cart ID, and for this one is going to be an array, and I will have a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I will remove all of the unnecessary comment, and for the increment by amount, I will change it to reset, and we don't really need this action. For the state, all of the value, I'm going to change it to cart count, and for this one, it's just going to be equal to 4, and the state dot cart ID is equal to the same like this array. So every time user click the reset button, it will reset all of the data. And for the increment and decrement, we are going to make it a little bit different. We are gonna keep this plus and minus function, but we are also going to add a new function inside of here. And it is going to be the function to add array inside of this cart ID state. I'm going to give it some semicolon first. So below of that, I'm going to give it state dot cart ID equal to, and I'm going to make an array. Inside of that, we'll have a triple dot, 1, 2, 3, state dot cart ID, comma 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to give it a new array, and that is going to be the cart count. So in here, the logic is when user click the increment button, first it will add the cart count. So if it's 4, it will add it to 5, and the next thing it's going to do is adding the new value to the cart ID array. So whenever user click If for example 4, like I said, if 4 and then turning to 5, it will add a comma and then 5, and so on. If you and so on. The next thing is going to be the decrement. I will just copy it from here. It is a little bit similar from the increment one, but we don't have this comma. And this one, I will just make a slice function. So we are going to slice the index. We'll put some 0, and in here we are going to slice it as the value of the card count there is already, and there is decrementing. Like for example here, state dot card count min 1. And why is I'm adding this min 1 in here? Because if you are remember, array index is start from 0. So if I do not add this min 1, it will not write, or it will not working fine. And I will moving it below or above of this card count. So first it will delete the index and then minus the card count. Different with the increment, first it will increment the card count and then add the index to the card ID. Now we have this function. Let's apply it to our card list.jsx. Go to the card list, and here we are going to import some of the function. I will just copy it from the counter, and don't forget to add the card slice inside of the store. I will add a new one, card equal to card reducer. I will copy and change the path so the counter slice is inside of the slice folder, then change the name to card slice. Now let's go again to the counter.jsx and copy this to import. Paste it in here. For this counter slice, we will make it a little bit different, and that is going to be the card slice. That card slice is, I put it inside of the slice folder, so it is going to be dot slash slice slash card slice. And I will add a new one here, and that's going to be the reset. We can also copy this one, copy, then paste it here. And for the use selector, we are going to have a two state or two counts in here. The first one is going to be the count, and the second one is going to be the ID. For these two counter, I will change it to card, and for the value, I'm going to give it some card. For the first variable, and give it count, and for the second one is going to be ID. Now let's map over this call md3. That's going to be id.map, and then inside of it we'll have some maybe card. Wait a second. And then we will have some curly brace in here, but we are not going to use curly brace. We will using parentheses because we want to instantly return something, but I think something is wrong in here. Let me check. id.map, then card equal to here, paste it here. Am I wrong in cutting? Yep, I was forget this little one, div closing tag. Now let's make the mapping function again. id.map, and then id, or you can make it card, and then we will put parentheses and pass it here. Alt-Shift F to make it a little bit beautify. So we are already done with the mapping function. Now let's delete the rest of the card. because we don't need this anymore. We already have one, and that's going to be mapping all over the data. For the event, I will copy from the counter.jsx in this on-click button, on-click event I mean. I will paste it here. For the first one is decrement, and then reset, and the last one is going to be increment. Now let's check it out in the website. We got some error here. Oh, I forgot to change this. Where it is? In the store, I think. Yup. And here I forgot to change it as cart reducer. Now let's refresh it without getting some fine. And if we increment the cart, it will add some cart. And if we decrement it, it will decrement the cart. But I think we forgot something in the cart list. I'm going to give this call md3 some mb for margin bottom equal to 3, and above of this row I will have a new row. Inside of that row I will have a new call md12, and we'll have a h1 with a text center class, text center, and for the text is going to be count. Now let's see. And here, as you can see, we have a 3 card, and we have also 3 card. If we increment, it will add it more card. If we reset, it will go back to the 4, and if I decrement it, it will go to the 0. And also we can make some condition where you can make it below as 0. So in the card slice and decrement state, I will make it if state dot card count equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, it will not do anything. But if it's not, if it's smaller and equal to 0, it will not do anything, and if it's else, it will decrement the card. Let's check it. If we are decrement again, as you can see here, we cannot decrement again. But for the increment, I think it will just go to the endless or infinite, or you can set it in your own code. So I think that's it for the video. I hope you will enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and give a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.